apologize, but these are at-home updates, and obviously I can only do them when I'm at home, and have not been for a while. Took a couple of days off, got out of town, went and visited family. Back in town, back at work. So now I've got a couple of minutes, and I'm not going to take a lot of your time this morning because I know for almost everybody, this is a holiday, right? Christmas falls on Saturday, you get Friday. Bravo to you. Enjoy your day. Embrace the day. Go out and get some things. Beautiful day of sunshine coming up and very tropical. You haven't been out, you haven't looked at the forecast. We're talking about highs, mid 80s. I know it's going to say 81, but remember, anytime you see forecasted highs, those are averages, right? So you take the highs and lows, and that's what you get. So don't be surprised, 83, 84 across southeast Texas. They're talking about 85 in Houston. Highest temperatures, I believe, since 2016, and of course, quite unseasonable. But as you get your Christmas Eve started, just want to take a couple of minutes to bring some things to your attention. But I would also remind you that this is a Facebook Live, so if you want to comment, you want to communicate, it's a great way to do it. You can tell me where you're watching from, you can tell me what's on your mind. All you have to do is chime in. I'll show you how it works. I can see them just like you. There's Faye Wiley. Good morning to you. Kathy has joined us this morning. Lisa Simmons says, good morning. Have an awesome holiday with your family. I've already had an awesome holiday, and hope that it will continue to be so. Just spending time with the family is awesome. And I do. I count every day that I have with my family as being a gift all year long. Tammy Cornwell, Merry Christmas to you. Also, Drazita, good morning to you. Also, Faye says, great you can get away and visit your family. It is great. The greatest thing is, Faye, I'm so lucky, so fortunate that my parents are still alive. And I get to visit with them. And I don't know, special Christmas time, I go back to my hometown. We make the rounds of places that we went when we were kids, and also places that have become special to my kids and grandkids. So it really is. I count myself very fortunate. And let me just lead that off. Let me just use that as a jumping off point this morning to remind you that there are a lot of people out there that are hurting today. A lot of people that are going through various kinds of pain. Maybe it's an illness that they're struggling with. Maybe it's the fact that they've lost a loved one. So if you can do anything, right, just a little bit that would help ease their pains and or burdens, why wouldn't you do so? It can be as simple as a phone call. You just reach out and let them know you're thinking about them. Maybe you invite them over for Christmas Day and say, hey, I know you're by yourself. If you've ever been through a Christmas by yourself, which I have, working in the business that I'm in, I found myself in a city where I knew really practically no one when I first started. And I had people who invited me, workmates, who invited me to come to their home for Christmas. And it just, it wasn't that I wanted to stay and celebrate Christmas all day with them, but it sure was nice to know, that I had someplace I can go and have a meal, have some conversation, and celebrate the day. So if you can, reach out, make somebody's day just a little bit easier. We started doing the at-home updates more than 2 years ago now, because of the fact that a lot of people were working from home. We started working from home to some degree, and we thought, hey, what if we did a very casual, this is not a newscast, but just a casual come together on the internet. So that's exactly what we did, and now it just continues to go. And now we're back full circle again, where we now have the Omicron variant, which is also rearing its ugly head, and yet to show us exactly what it's going to mean to southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana. But I don't know about you, but more and more people that I talk to, more and more people that I contact, they either know someone who's tested positive or they've tested positive. Severity is another issue. You can read a lot of different things. I've read everything I can get my hands on. To the point maybe I've read too much, everything from studies that suggest that maybe the Omicron variant will not have the severity of Delta or other variants of COVID, to the point that other people are saying it won't matter because the sheer volume, because how easily it is passed from one person to the other, will make it something that will simply overwhelm the hospital by sheer volume. We'll see. There are positive signs. In South Africa, where this was really first spotted, the Omicron peaked out pretty quickly and went back the other direction pretty quickly as well. So we can hope for that. We'll see. I do, folks who might be visiting, from out of town, we welcome you back in. We hope that you'll have a great time with your family this holiday. Now let's jump to it. We want to, you're going to have to excuse me for a second because I will admit that I did not get everything, I did, set up. But there we go. I just wanted to show you while we're talking about COVID, this is kind of where everything started, was that idea of checking the numbers, seeing what's going on. Now, these are new confirmed cases, and this is on the app that you can access very easily. Just Google Texas COVID dashboard. You can see all these numbers just like I can. But you go right here and it says confirmed cases. It gives you the newest number of confirmed cases. Now, it's not going to break it out and says this is Delta or this is Omicron. But what you can see from this are these spikes of the waves that we have had, right? So this is starting back, 2000, or 2020, I should say, 2021. And then we peaked, right? And you think, oh, it's over. We get down the valley, but here it's coming back up again. So that's what's making a lot of people very nervous, is what are these numbers going to look like? I can tell you what it looks like in a practical sense. We are seeing cancellations today of Christmas flights. United, Delta, saying it's causing them to cancel. You may be going, oh, well, it's only a couple of hundred flights. No, we're talking more than 1,500 flights. In fact, they're saying, I think the latest update that I saw was more than 2,000 flights that had been canceled, if I read it correctly. Go and check for yourself. I say, news is always a changing story. It's always in flux. So go and check for yourself. There's where you can go right there, Flight Aware. It tells you how many delays there are, total cancellations. Well, they're at 1,200 now. And this is going to go up and go down. So if you got people who are coming into town or you have plans to get out of town, the best thing you can do for yourself is call before you go. So many people here drive to Houston, if they're going to be flying. So before you make the drive over, take the time to see what's going on. Take the time to call your carrier and say, what's the situation? Many times you can download the app and you don't have to do that. They're sending you alerts saying your flight has been canceled. But again, just be aware. That's not the only thing. If you're a college basketball fan, which, for those who don't know, I do college basketball broadcast, play-by-play for ESPN Plus, and there have been canceled games. I had a game scheduled for January 1st that's been canceled. It was part of the Western Athletic Conference. As you can see, Lamar being affected. The start of play in the Western Athletic Conference postponed due to COVID. The women's team had to cancel their first two Western Athletic Conference games. I would be surprised if this is not the beginning of total chaos when it comes to sports. The Hawaii Bowl is canceled. That's the second bowl. Texas A&M pulled out of the Gator Bowl. They did find a replacement for them, and they are going to play the game. But don't be surprised. I mean, you even have the governing body of the football championship, which is underway, which you'll have the 4 teams playing semis, finals coming up, that they said, if in fact COVID cancels one of those games, that the team that is still eligible will win the game by default. You could have a national champion instead of playing the game that wins by the fact that they have enough players. Texas A&M finally had to say, we don't have enough players on our roster, scholarship players, that we can play the game. Good question. Somebody, let me just pop this up real quickly. Faye Wiley says, what are the symptoms of Omicron? Well, actually, Faye, the symptoms of Omicron are no different than the symptoms of any other COVID. So I would suggest that you Google those. And also know that you don't have to have all. The one thing that is different about Omicron as opposed to the other strains and our variants is the fact that most people are not losing their sense of smell and taste. Not happening nearly as often. So that might help you out there. Also up this morning, Tom, good morning to you and your family there in Frankfurt. Hope you get a chance to make a visit to Southeast Texas this morning. Okay, this morning also, Lisa asked a good question. She says, good morning from Vider. Now, when are you bringing back this day in history? Aside from the weather and local businesses that are highlighted, in the 90 seconds of the bishop, I am pretty much shutting it off at this point. Again, for those who don't know, we're still struggling a bit with technical fallout from a ransomware attack that happened to the company, and it was company wide. So we're still struggling, but we're hoping as soon as the new year gets here that we can go back to our old format, get things going. We'll bring back this day in history. You can bank on that. Shirley James, kind enough to say, according to the CDC, common cold symptoms, cough, runny nose, fatigue, among others, Shirley, that you can also find. That's why I'm encouraging, if you're curious, Google, do the work yourself, and go find out what they're saying, what it might possibly be. All right, so let's see, just a couple more quick items for you this morning. I just want to, Christmas is here, and I know a lot of people trying to get into the spirit of things, and some people may use spirits to get into the spirit. And if that's the case, please don't drive. There are a lot of people out on the roads, whether they're, trying to make it over to grandma's house or whatever. This is a case. This person has not been found guilty, but I'm just mentioning this because it's a story we have today. And it brings up the driving intoxicated charge against this person. There will be many of those over the course of the next week or so as we have time between the holidays for people to get out. So please, again, if you, if that's you, if you feel like you need to celebrate with a beverage, try to find some time in between when you're having the beverage and when you're driving home. If not for you, for my loved ones, for everybody else's loved ones, that we think that way. All right, one final story for you this morning. I thought this one was pretty good. If you have not, want to give yourself a present. If you're a music fan, you should watch the Beatles documentary, Get Back. Peter Jackson did it. It's really quite something to see if you're a Beatles fan. But this is Texas Monthly, byline by Kat Cardenas, and it's a good story, and it's true. Billy Preston really could have been the fifth Beatle. Even the Beatles say that he changed them in late 1969 when he walked into the studio and started playing. And many people don't realize that Billy Preston is a Texan, or was a Texan. In fact, grew up in the Houston area. Great story, gives his background, goes into detail. So if you want to read it, you get a couple of free stories at Texas Monthly. You might want to choose this as one of them. All right, go out, get whatever you need to get done, right? You got any last minute shopping to do? Hopefully you're past that by now. But if you're in that situation and you still need to get some done, you've got time to do that. You know that a lot of things are going to close early today. Keep that in mind. Also keep in mind there are a lot of folks that are taking the day off for a holiday, since Christmas falls on Saturday, New Year's falls on Saturday as well. Again, thank you for your time this morning. You know I appreciate it. Appreciate your taking the time to drop by. And again, going to leave you with the idea, make it a safe and happy day. And as you go out this morning, the reminder too that you can always hit us with a like. It's always appreciated. You can watch us a variety of different ways. Facebook on KFDM News, Twitter, Morning TV Dan. Of course, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That's Dan's at Home. Again, thanks for the time. Have a terrific day, and Merry Christmas to you all.